Hello friend, welcome to the WowEmbossingPowder channel. I am design team member Sasha. So today is the start of a new series called Exploring Techniques with Sasha. Hopefully you can tell from the name that there is going to be a lot of exciting discovery and experimentation. Just like with today's cards where we use kitchen towels and embossing powder to create an amazing texture filled background that we then managed to get 2 cards out of. So if you can't wait, let's get started. Okay, so you'll need a mixed media base. I've got 300 GSM mixed media paper from a teaser, but you can also use card if you've got that. And of course you'll need your kitchen towels. Now you can use wrapping tissue paper, like the stuff they put in gifts, but I just wanted to show you that you can take this regular product that you have lying around your house, and if you're a mom, okay, I know this stuff is your savior, okay, I know you've got loads of it hidden somewhere, so this is the perfect time to like bring it out and let's try this technique. You will also need some watered down PVA glue, but in this video I'm using gel medium because me and the kids made a bunch of these backgrounds earlier, so we finished all the PVA glue. But you can get PVA glue in any shop, even grocery shops. I'm sure they sell like craft glue, and you just mix it with water and it's the perfect thing for this. So we're going to start by adding a nice layer of water over our paper, and this is just so that we can create a watered down mix of the gel medium or the gel glue. And then once I've added my gel glue, I'm going to grab my paper, my kitchen towel, and just crunch it up. Just give it a real good crunch. You want it super crunchy and super wrinkly so that you can get all those beautiful textures and wrinkles in your background. This is the one time in your life where you do want wrinkles and loads of them. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and adhere our tissue paper to the paper. There's going to be a lot of confusion with all these papers. I'm going to try and keep it together, guys, but please bear with me. Okay, so we're just going to add a layer of water before we add our mixed medium glue so that we can create a lighter mixture of the gel medium. If you're using watered down PVA glue, you wouldn't have to add water. You just add your watered down PVA glue and then use it to adhere the tissue paper to your mixed media paper. Okay, but because we're using gel medium, we need to add the water so that it lightens the gel medium. Otherwise you'd use the whole bottle of your gel medium glue just to make this one background. Okay, now this part is my favorite part. It's always the best part for me, because now that our tissue paper is nice and malleable, we're going to go ahead and start creating these folds in our background. Now this is to just add extra texture and also to add like shape to your background. So for example, if you wanted to make like a tree, then this is where you'd be sort of shaping it to add the barky texture and things like that. If you wanted to create like maybe snow, then this is where you'll be like creating little round bumps in your background so that you can have that snowy texture. You can literally create any shape with this, okay? Like just experiment and try it out. And this technique is not new at all, guys. I'm sure many of us have had plenty of fun with this already back in our school days during our class. That's how old it is. But today we're going to make it new by using our brand new trios of embossing powder. We've got the Silk Road trio and the Ancient trio. Now these embossing powders are so gorgeous, and I really can't wait to get to the part where I show you the embossing powders. But for now I'm just going around using my mixture of adding water first and then gel medium to create these folds. Just take your time with this. It doesn't take as long as it looks, to be honest, but I craft for like pleasure and calming, so things like this that do take maybe 30 minutes or so to get done, I thoroughly enjoy them, because that's 30 minutes of me focusing on what I thoroughly love. And once you're done, like what it does to your soul, like you can't even like buy this. It's just really good vibes for your soul, good soul food. So comment below, guys, if you craft because you love it or you craft because you need it, because some of us do need crafting. Like if we didn't have crafting, we'd be running around in the streets mad. I feel like I'm one of those people who both needs it and loves it. So let's say you wanted to add even more texture to your background. All you have to do is grab a bit of your tissue paper and then add water to it so that it's nice and malleable, and then you're going to roll it into this little shape here, because this shape is easy to mold into whatever shape, especially for this background. And then you're going to take your glue obviously and stick it down and then add water to it so that you can really mold it into a mound or whatever you want it to be. And let's say you didn't want a mound, you just wanted to add a bit more wrinkle to the back. You do the same thing. You just take a piece of tissue paper, wrinkle it up so that it's nice and wrinkly, add a bit of water to it, and then you're going to just stick it on. Okay, so our background is pretty much done. We're just going to leave it to dry. You can use your heat tool if you're impatient to just help it along. But whilst it's drying, I just wanted to show you some of the other backgrounds we made, me and my son. So this one here is some scary spider legs, and we're going to turn that into a nice Halloween card. And then here we made some snakes so that we can create a Medusa card. And then we also have some tentacles here. So these are octopus tentacles so that we can make an Ursula themed card. And then here we've got like a scary face mask. It's going to be so fun turning these into cards. To catch the action, please make sure that you're following us over on Instagram at WowEmbossingPowder, because so much happens over on social. So please make sure that you're following us on all of our social media platforms. And also follow me over at Love Builds Up Crafts. Thank you. Okay, so our background is nice and dry, and you can see all that beautiful texture and interest. Oh, seriously, who needs embossing folders, guys? Okay, so let's go ahead and decorate our panel. I'm starting by ink blending some bundled sage. So I don't know if I've mentioned it earlier, but this is basically going to be like a tree trunk. That's why I created all those ridges, because that's going to look like bark. So I'm just adding some water to my bundled sage just to create that texture. And the way I'm ink blending is so that I'm trying to add the texture that trees have, because you like if you look at a tree, it's not all one color, it's got like different layers of color happening. So that's what I'm trying to create with the ink blending. And right now I'm ink blending with frayed burlap, but I can't get it where I want it to go, so I'm going to go ahead and use my finger to just rub in the colors, because I want the creases filled with color, like a deeper color. It's not everything that needs a tool, guys. Sometimes just use your God-given tools, okay? Because yes, hands still work. So use some of that hand magic and get it done. Okay, so let's take it up a notch using this Turkish brass embossing powder, which is from the brand new Asian trio. And what you want to do is just lightly rub the raised areas just like you would with the embossing folder with your embossing ink, and then you're going to add your powder. So if your powder goes where you don't want it to go, just grab a paintbrush and remove whatever you don't need, because what we want is for it to lightly cover the raised areas. Let's heat emboss that and just look at that wildness there. Oh my gosh, I so love this color, and the texture of it all is just so brilliant. So this next step here is optional, because in as much as I do love the Turkish brass, trees are not shiny. So I'm just taking a nail file and just rubbing over some of the raised areas, and this just helps to really add realism to that tree trunk, don't you think? Okay, so all trees need leaves, and for these I'm just taking one of the backgrounds that I made earlier, and all I did was just crumple up some of the towel and add it to the panel with water and glue, just like I showed you before. But this was really uncomplicated because I didn't have to add any folds. It's really about the wrinkles so that it mimics like veining on leaves. So let's go ahead and quickly decorate. Okay, so I'm starting by ink blending some spiced marmalade distress oxide, and over that I'm going to add some frayed burlap to some of the areas just to get a variation in our leaf colors. And then I'm going to add some seedless preserves as well as some frayed burlap as well over that. And then now I'm going in with my curry dye ink from the stamp market just over the raised areas in some of the bits, just to give a bit more of that texture. And I'll do the same with the orchid color, and then I'll go ahead and sprinkle some water over that and dab the excess off. This is all just to create the texture, you know, it's all about the texture really. And then we're going to make sure that it's dry before we go ahead and heat emboss the panel with our Silk Road trio. These colors are so gorgeous. So we're going to go ahead and do what we did before, just lightly rub our embossing ink pad over the raised areas and then add our embossing powder. Now for this part you want to do one color at a time and just do one bit at a time, because you don't want to mix up all your embossing powders. So just do a bit at a time and then heat emboss it until you add all the colors and you end up with something that looks like this. Now this is a nice background all on its own. It could also be a nice piece of leather if you ever wanted colored leather. This is how you make it. So anyway, let's go ahead and speed finish the rest of the card. I die cut some leaves using this oak leaf die from Picket Studios. I will link everything in the description. And then I added a white outline to the leaves just to make them pop. And then I die cut an oval from the original background so that I could have two bits to make two cards. Now you do lose some of the raised areas from the die cutting, but it's not as much as you would think, and you still have the beautiful texture of the background. So I finished off the first card by taking the frame piece and adding some foam tape to it. Then I took an off-white 5x7 piece of card and I stamped a sentiment on it, and then I put the background over it and I added my leaves as well as some gold jam. I kept the finishes super simple because we've already done all the hard work by adding all that texture to our panels, so that when we do die cut we get a beautiful effect. I mean, just look at those leaves, right? They're so believable, right? And then look at the texture of the bark as well. I think it's a nice way to just have fun with texture. I kept the second card simple as well. I just trimmed off a bit of the oval there, and then I stuck that on an A2 card base, and I did add some foam tape to it so that it's propped up. And then underneath there I just snuck in some leaves so that they look like they're popping from under the oval shape. And then I added that heat embossed hug sentiment. Now that sentiment is 3 layers of die cut, and then I heat embossed it with silk brocade and pomegranate embossing powder from the Silk Road trio. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this series as much as I know I will. Please comment below if there are any particular techniques that you'd like to explore from a different perspective, or something that you've always wondered if it would work with embossing powders and if we can try it out. Just let me know in the comments below. Please like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with other creatives, experimental creatives, and other lovers of heat embossing. Also, don't forget to follow us over on our social medias, because if you do tag us on your makes that you make with all the wonderful WOW embossing products, you might find yourself over on the WOW embossing blog or on the WOW embossing social media pages. You can always find a product list with pictures over on the WOW embossing blog, so head on over there. Guys, have a wow kind of day until next time, and in the meantime, binge watch our other videos on the WowEmbossing Powder channel. Bye!